Hello and good afternoon, Sikich Live. Thanks so much for being here with us today on our Salesforce edition of Sikich Live. Today is all about the coveted manufacturing distribution report that Sikich puts out every single year and has been featured in Forbes articles and news distribution across Illinois and the nation. So we're excited to talk a little bit more about that. But before we do, and before I bring on a partner in charge of our manufacturing practice, Jerry Murphy, I'd be remiss to, of course, mention, make sure to like and subscribe so that you're getting all of these notifications for when Sikich Live goes live each Tuesday and Thursday. We are covering new and exciting topics about ERP, IT managed services, security, CRM, and so much more. So make sure to like and subscribe to get those notifications. And of course, don't be shy on Sikich Live, like I always say. If you're in the chat box right now, if you're watching us on either Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, make sure to add something into the comment section if you have a question about anything that we're talking about today. We're happy to help, and that's why we come to you live each week. Okay, great. So let's get started here. Let's bring Jerry on. Jerry, thank you so much for being here on Sikich Live with us today.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get started, Jerry, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Sikich?
Sure thing. Again, I'm Jerry Murphy. I'm an audit partner located in Naperville, Illinois, and I also lead our manufacturing distribution vertical. I've been with the firm about 31 years and worked almost exclusively with manufacturers and distributors during that time.
I'm guessing maybe you also have some Irish heritage, given the huge Ireland wall poster next to you.
Yeah, that's right. Good catch.
So, well, thanks so much, Jerry, for being here with us today. So I want to dive right into it and talk about the Sikich Manufacturing Distribution Report. But I want to start out very general and just ask, what is this report? Who do we talk to? Where do we get all of our data points in the report from, and why do we do it?
Oh, good. Well, 2020 is our 6th annual report, and we survey approximately 300 executives from across the country. They work in large, medium, and small businesses, both public and private. And the report really was a way for us to share information with clients and the greater business community. We are often being asked, well, what are your clients experiencing? What are they doing to with this particular challenge. So what we did is we created the survey and the report to share what's top of mind with business executives and how you can improve your business.
So I want to dive into the report a little bit and take a quote out. So one of the experts quoted on a report said that, in quotations, the ability to virtually communicate with customers and sell to new ones will be the key to thriving during the rest of the pandemic and afterwards. Do you share that sentiment, and what can Sikich do to help?
No, I do share that. Before the pandemic started, of course, sales and marketing activities were always a real challenge. We often heard from our clients and prospects that they were finding it difficult to grow. And now that it's more difficult for us to visit our customers face to face or as frequently as we would like, it's imperative that we have tools like a CRM platform to communicate virtually with clients. I know that our Salesforce practice leader, Jenny Ferguson, is helping clients with the implementation or expanding the platform of Salesforce to communicate with customers, prospects, and even employees. It's going to be really, really important over the next several months and even longer to continue to be able to digitally stay in front of your customers. So your CRM like Salesforce is going to be a really important tool. And as if you've had an opportunity to read our report, one of our clients, Quicker Window and Door, indicated that Salesforce is really helping them take their sales function to the next level.
Absolutely, and of course, with so many people working from home, this is a extremely common thing that we're seeing, and we have to engage with our customers on a maybe not a whole new level, but in so many more levels of it, almost in the same way. So it's interesting, and Salesforce definitely helps out a lot with that. But it's interesting to see that so many clients and customers that took the survey, had that same sort of sentiment. And if I'm not correct, this survey was done kind of during the pandemic, or maybe right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, sure. Actually, we launched the actual questions in January. And so we were actually beginning to get a lot of our responses and feedback prior to the pandemic becoming, really a national issue. We, of course, were hearing about it overseas, but most of the answers we received were actually prior to the national shutdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can definitely be an interesting perspective to see. So, we did see that one of the key findings stated that the number one reason manufacturers are investing in digital technologies is to increase productivity, right? So, but that cost is their number one or number two challenge. So can you give us some insight on that, and what are some ways Sikich may be able to help in that area?
Yeah, you're right. When we asked executives about investing, they found that they didn't have the budget for that type of automation, and that was typically their number one and number two reason was the lack of funds to automate. And there is, as you'll see in our report when you get a chance to download it if you haven't already, there is a divergence between large and small and medium-sized businesses, and we call it the haves and have-nots. And I think that really stems from the idea that business owners and executives think that automation is going to be a 6 or 7 digit investment, and that's just not true. Many times they don't know where to start, and they don't have the internal resources to help them identify ways that they can automate. And our technology practice leaders at Sikich have done a nice job putting together options for manufacturers and distributors to continue to drive their technology forward. Salesforce, for instance, has created a quick start program at Sikich that allows manufacturers to implement a Salesforce platform within about 30 days for a cost of about $30,000. And that really will help them leverage the platform to, as we said a moment ago, to communicate digitally with with their customers and prospects, as well as some of the new functionality that's been added to Salesforce to help with demand management and forecasting.
Absolutely. So with affordability being, right top of mind, your report mentioned that investing in innovation could result in a R&D tax credit for manufacturers. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. R&D or research and experimentation is what it's often referred to, has been around a long time, and manufacturers often are doing research and experimentation and really don't realize that they've actually done something that would be eligible for a credit, and that credit against your federal and state tax dollars is a great way to reduce your tax burden and reinvest those funds back into your business. So oftentimes you're developing new products, new services, or improving manufacturing, and those costs that you're putting into that might qualify for the credit. And the credit consists of a 4-part test, and I'll just quickly go through those. They are an element of unpredictability. There has to be a risk of failure, in other words, and it must be a process of experimenting. Must be technological in nature, and it must be for a qualified purpose, such as creating a new process, creating a new product, or improving an existing one. I would suggest that if you're not really taking advantage of the credit, or if you are taking advantage of the credit, you still should consider talking with your tax advisor. Someone at Sikich, for instance, can help talk through the qualified activities you might be performing and perform a study to help you maximize the amount of credit that you're going to receive.
Absolutely. So also within the M&D report, there was a lot of coverage on workplace safety, which of course, workplace safety pre-pandemic looks a little bit different post-pandemic, but I think that it is all the more important to talk about that even when you're working at home or being remote, of course. And there's still a lot of companies that are currently not remote, and especially with manufacturers that have to be on shop floors, and it's much more common for them to be in that environment. So with workforce safety being such a big topic with the M&D report, can you tell us a little bit more details about the findings there?
Yeah, workplace safety was obviously a very important topic prior to the pandemic, and manufacturers and distributors have done an incredible job implementing protocols and safety around COVID-19. And many of those businesses have also been functioning or trying to work on their continuity plans, and probably have taken their eye off this workplace safety topic a little bit. It's probably time to return to that if you've kind of gotten through all the safety issues with COVID. Our firm has invested a lot in securing our facilities and training our employees about workplace violence, domestic violence, to help our employees identify things before they become a big problem. If you see something, say something. Is very important. So training your employees about this topic is vital. We had a large number of our respondents say that they've had threats of violence, actual violence within their factory and offices, and actual have arrest on premises. Some of the frightening statistics included 1 in 7 had a shooting with an injury in their factory, or 1 in 7 had a shooting without any injuries. I think that just highlights the need to have a plan to develop. You need to develop that plan to protect your employees. Of course, we know when employees feel safe, they're more productive and happy, and they tend to stay with you. It reduces your overall cost of retention of employees. If you don't have the internal resources to develop the plan, or don't know where to start, our Sikich HR consulting team can help you with that. I'd also encourage you to look at some of the new applications that are available through your software providers that you're using for ERP and CRM. Salesforce, for instance, has an application called work.com that you can use to help you with contract tracing or other workplace risk assessments.
Absolutely. Yeah, work.com has been a really interesting and exciting initiative from Salesforce that we've seen. So definitely check that out. It's literally just work.com. And not only is it workplace violence and safety, but also contact tracing and COVID pandemic type issues within the workplace. So, and not only is physical safety and workplace safety so important, but we're seeing a lot of virtual risk out there, right? So, and this is one of my this topic always I think is terrible but neat at the same time, and also a little bit frightening. From the M&D report, 45% of the executives that were surveyed said that their companies experienced data breaches in the past 12 months. It's definitely alarming to see. What's happening now is it's not if it's going to happen to me anymore, it's when it's going to happen to me, right? So when we might have a data breach. Can you share a little bit more insight on what manufacturers should be doing to ensure that their data is secure?
Yeah, great question. And cybersecurity was obviously all very important prior to the pandemic, and now that we have a lot of employees still working remotely, particularly office employees in a manufacturing and distribution setting, it's made those companies probably quite a bit more vulnerable. And our Sikich cybersecurity team has seen an increase in the number of malware and other cyber attacks that have happened to businesses that we often work with. And I think that it's imperative that executives take the time to perform an IT security assessment. I think they're often surprised by the holes that they find during that security assessment that they weren't aware of and need to be fixed immediately. Also key to provide employees with training. Employees need to understand and be able to identify malicious emails and phishing expeditions that they get on a routine basis, so that they're not clicking on things that might make their computer vulnerable to an attack that leads to an attack on the network the business has. Create an incident response plan. You need to have a plan ready to go when this happens, so that you're not scrambling to figure out who's going to do what and when. And finally, perform penetration and vulnerability tests on a regular basis. This is a great way to identify what some of those challenges or problems you might have before they become noticed by a cyber criminal.
So one thing that we are going to do today, after talking through a lot of these details covering workplace violence, HR, a little bit about risk, there's a lot more detail in the M&D report, right? So and definitely something that we want everyone to check out and look at. So that is being added to the, well, it's right below. So you can see it right there, sikich.com/MD-report-2020. I think we can add that into the comments section as well somewhere, so people could take a look at that. Make sure to download that full report. Definitely a lot of interesting things in there. And often you read this report and you'll come up with more questions that you need to ask your business or organization. At least that's what we're hopeful that you do. And we want to be there to be able to answer those questions as well. So is there a way to reach out to you, Jerry, on your LinkedIn or in any other ways?
Yeah, please do. If you have questions after reading the report, you can reach me at jerry.murphy@sikich.com. Or of course my LinkedIn profile, which we'll share with you after today's event. Feel free to reach out to me. If I don't know the answer to your question, I'll certainly put you in contact with one of my colleagues that can.
Excellent. Yeah, well, Jerry, I don't have any more questions for you. Just thanks for being here and talking to us a little bit more about everything that's included in the report and how it relates to Salesforce, which is the main topic that we talk about here each Tuesday, and different technology systems, how our customers can be more aware of their own customers as well. So
That's right.
Thanks again, Jerry, for being here. We hope that you'll join us on Sikich Live again at some point. We'd love to have you back. Thanks, everybody. Like I say, every single week, make sure to like and subscribe, sign up for those notifications, and continue to reach out and ask us questions. We come live each week because in this new normal that we're living in, being with you virtually is really the best way to be with you right now. So make sure to ask those questions and feel free to reach out. We are happy to help. Thanks again. I'll see everybody hopefully on Thursday, and we'll be on next week, Tuesday and Thursday as well. Thanks again, Jerry, for being here, and we will see everybody soon. Bye.